Appetizers are a great way to set the stage for the rest of the meal. Hi friends, I'm Charles. I'm a personal chef, and today we're gonna be talking about cooking for a crowd, and we're gonna start with appetizers. Gosh, it already smells so good. And I'm gonna show you two of my favorite appetizers, starting with deviled eggs and with the spicy and crispy bacon, and then we're also gonna do a citrus guacamole that's gonna definitely be a crowd pleaser. The deviled eggs are a super approachable appetizer, come together in little to no time, and I'm gonna show you how to make my favorite ones today. First off, we gotta boil these eggs. So I'm gonna fill my pot halfway up with water, turn this on a medium-high heat, and then we're gonna add in our vinegar, which is gonna help the eggs coagulate just in case they happen to crack. And then once this comes to a rolling boil, we're just gonna add our eggs and then set an 8-minute timer. One of the things that I take into account when I'm planning what appetizers I'm gonna have is how are people going to interact with it. So if I'm gonna do a dip, I know that that's gonna encourage people to kind of congregate around a certain space, where small bites encourage people to kind of like stop by, grab it, and then walk away. So our water is beautifully boiling. We're just gonna add our eggs now, and just make sure there's plenty of space for them all to touch the bottom of the pot. Because if you have an excessive amount of eggs in there, then you're gonna wanna lengthen the amount of time that they cook, and you're gonna wanna try and move them around a little bit just to make sure that they're cooking evenly. So our eggs have been boiling for 8 minutes, and now we're just gonna turn the heat off and place them into a bowl of cold water. It slows down the cooking process. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and begin to crack them, and we're gonna do that in several places all around the egg. And that's gonna help this water to be able to seep underneath the shell and kind of loosen up that first membrane on the egg, making them easier to peel. And it usually helps the shell slide off really easily with no fuss. No one loves a good fuss egg. The great thing about eggs is they're perfect for so many things. I mean, you think about it, we eat them for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and they're included in our desserts. Perfect, and we're done. And then we're just gonna drain. So I have a paring knife here, and we're just gonna cut the eggs down the center. And then what I just like to do is just kind of pop them into your bowl. And no need to worry if the egg breaks, because by the time you get the filling in there and people are enjoying themselves and they have a drink in their hand, no one's gonna notice that one of the eggs is cracked. And these are perfect to do in advance because they would keep in your fridge up to a week. The only thing is you need to make sure that your whites on a flat surface, so whatever storage container you put them in, just make sure they can sit flat, and then you can easily just place another egg right inside. Now we're gonna roll into making our filling. We have 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. You could also use Greek yogurt if you wanted to. We have 3/4 of a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a 1.5 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of sugar here, which is gonna give you some sweetness. And then we're just gonna go in here with a little bit of salt. You can just kind of fill out how much you wanna put in there. Same thing with the pepper. If you want a little more spice, you could definitely amp the pepper up. And you want the butter to be room temperature. It's gonna spread it a little farther. Finally, we're gonna add a little bit of cayenne, just another way to kick up the spice if you enjoy spicier food. So how much you put in here is totally up to you. And we're just gonna blend this until it's nice and smooth. Just kind of rotate the bowl as you go. I'm just looking for this beautiful creamy texture here, for everything to be the same color and all the ingredients to be evenly distributed. You can even see on your beater here, we have a nice creamy situation. And I'm just gonna show you a quick trick to make your life a little easier when you're getting ready to pipe these. So we're just gonna grab a lowball glass and we're gonna place our resealable bag. You're gonna take the corner, place it right into the glass, and just kind of pull down the rest of the outside. And now we're just gonna go in here with our filling. Don't try to do too much at once. You just kind of add it in here in batches so you can keep control. Just grab your bag, kind of let everything just fall to that one corner. And then we're gonna remove the excess air all the way around while also twisting the bag. And now we have a perfect piping bag to fill our eggs with. Now we're just gonna make a 1/2 inch cut on the bottom. This is a great trick because everybody has a resealable bag. And now we're gonna proceed to fill our eggs, which is the fun part. I usually like to start in the center of the egg and then move around all the way up to the top. And then just kind of press it down in and pull away. And you have a perfectly piped deviled egg. And you're just gonna keep doing that until they're all filled. Making deviled eggs is just such a nostalgic treat. It really does take me back to childhood. We used to have these at just about every gathering. Anytime we're together as a family, there's gonna be deviled eggs present. Gosh, they smell so good, and we're not even done with them yet. It's just gonna get better. So now we're gonna do our garnish. And we've got some beautiful crispy bacon here. So all you're gonna do is take your 4 crispy strips of bacon and put it in here. If just by chance you don't have bacon, you could crisp up some prosciutto or a little pancetta, and you'd get the same wonderful product. We're gonna add in a little bit of honey. You can just kind of drizzle that all over. This is a little messy, but fun and well worth it. We're gonna dash in some cayenne. You can gauge your own spice level on that, add more, add less, you can omit it. And then the smoked paprika. And then I like to also do just a little smidge of salt in here. And now we're just gonna crush this up until it starts to kind of stick together. It's a little bit tacky. And now we're just gonna place that right on top of our eggs. Have a little spoon here just to help me with placement. You're just gonna take a little bit, nestle it right on the top of your little mountain of filling. This is just a nice smoky element that's very complementary to like the buttery and sweet eggy filling that we have. Bacon just makes everything delicious, doesn't it? We're just gonna grab a beautiful basil here. And all I'm gonna do is I'm stacking all of these basil leaves, and what I'm gonna do is just roll them and just make sure it's rolled nice and tight. We're gonna take our knife and we're just gonna slice it thin. And you wanna make sure that you have a sharp knife or else you're just bruising your herbs and they'll turn dark on you. So you're just gonna take this, break it up a little, and then just kind of sprinkle it. Just to add a nice herbaceous, sweet pop of flavor there at the end. I have chosen a square marble platter here, and something else that I like to do that I think is really fun is just decorate the bottom of the platter with a little bit of greenery. I'm gonna use arugula, but you could easily use watercress. You could use some torn kale, just something that you can put on the bottom of the platter. So now that we have that, we have roughly 16 eggs here. So what we're gonna do is just do 4 beautiful rows of 4. And you can strategically just place them and nestle them into the arugula. All right, and that's it. We have our beautiful plate of butter whipped deviled eggs with a crispy and spicy bacon topping and a little bit of fresh basil. And what I love about this recipe is that it just hits all those wonderful flavor components that you love. They're just gonna dance around on your palate. This is also an appetizer that's a great introduction to anyone who hasn't had a deviled egg before, or maybe you have some deviled egg skeptics in your life. The bacon is going to definitely be the component that makes them a believer. And now we're going to make one of my favorite appetizers, which is guacamole. Everyone loves a good dip, and this one comes together relatively quick. You typically have all the ingredients in your pantry, and there's a secret ingredient in this, which is citrus. So we're just gonna get right into it and start slicing our avocados. And I like to use a paring knife, and I just hold it in my hand and keep it nice and firm and steady and just go all the way around. And I promise this is one of those appetizers that people will be asking you questions about, will want your recipe for it, will be inspired by it. And what we're doing here is just, I like to take my knife and wedge it down into the seed, and then you just twist and remove it, and it comes out relatively easy. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna square the avocado in the shell. And you just wanna be careful that you don't apply too much pressure because you don't wanna cut yourself. That's no fun. So what we're gonna do is just make about 4 vertical slits in here. And then we're gonna go the opposite direction. So what we have are these nice little squares. And now we're just gonna scoop all of these out. And you're just gonna take your spoon and just kind of rotate it around the inside. And then you can use your peel to kind of push it out of the spoon. So now that we have our avocado in the bowl, we're going to go ahead and just mash it up a little bit before we start to fold in our veggies. I love to use a wooden spoon or something just like kind of oversized because I don't want to break down all of the avocado. I love a good chunky guacamole, but what I want to do is just smash some of it down. So we have that creaminess and then we have some beautiful texture. So we have 2 jalapenos that have been de-seeded and chopped here. And we're just gonna add that. And then if you want some spice in here, you're gonna wanna leave some of the white rib that runs down the center of your jalapeno. I have half of a red onion here. Now what we're going to do is grate our garlic in here, and I have 4 garlic cloves. And I like to grate them in. It blends well. I feel like the flavor pops more. So you just have that nice garlicky bite. Gosh, it already smells so good. And now we're gonna zest 1 whole lime. And what you wanna do is that what I like to do for zesting is just hold the lime in my hand and run the zester down and around the lime. There we go. And then we're gonna juice both of the limes. I just love hot sauce and guac. It kicks it up a notch. And also you have all the wonderful flavors that are already in hot sauce, just adds more flavor to this. So I feel like guacamole as an appetizer option lends itself to being pretty versatile to pair with whatever it is you're doing. Chicken or pork or beef dishes, even if you're doing like a beautiful grilled fish or something, I feel like this is a great opening to the evening. Every good guac needs cilantro. I hate that there are people who actually don't enjoy it because it's literally one of my favorite herbs and it's so delicious. And we're just gonna do a little rough chop on this. It does not have to be perfect. And we're gonna add a little bit in here and then we're gonna finish it with a little black pepper, some salt, and of course you can do this to taste. And we're gonna supreme these, and it takes a little bit of skill set. What I like to do is cut off both ends, and then we're gonna run our paring knife down the sides. And you can use the pith as your guide. You're gonna wanna start your cutting right there where it meets the fruit. And then we're just gonna run down the side. No worry if you get a little bit of pith in there, just go back and trim it. And we're just gonna do this all the way around. So all you're gonna do is take your paring knife and you will see the natural lines of the pith just running down through the segments. You're gonna wanna let your paring knife just kind of glide in on both sides and you'll meet in the center. Just wanna make sure you go all the way down and then they just slide out. So the reason we wanna supreme the oranges is that it's just a great way to get all that great concentrated orange flavor. And then what you can easily do is just, once we have all of these orange segments out of here, is just give the remains a little squeeze and you can add that right into your guac just to kind of amp up that orange flavor. As my grandmother used to say, waste not, want not. So we have both of our oranges supremed here and ready to go. And what we're gonna do is slice the segments in half, just right down the center. And what we're gonna do is put half of them in and fold it in. And then we're gonna use the other half to garnish the top, just for kind of a wow factor and so people can see what is in it. And then we're just gonna fold them in. And now we're gonna plate this up and finish it with some garnish. What I've chosen here is a beautiful circular marble dish. And then we have this just beautiful piece of pottery. It's not your typical guacamole. We're gonna chic it up a little bit. And you're just gonna pile it nice and high. Do not be shy about the quantity that you put in here. Try to keep a clean edge around the bowl. That's just my own personal aesthetic. And now we're gonna add those oranges that we set to the side for garnish. And now we're just gonna grab a little bit of cilantro to finish it off. We have some beautiful blue corn tortilla chips and we have some yellow corn. You could also toast up some pita and season it. You can just have fun with it. And then we'll put some yellow on the other side. You wanna think about the colors and you wanna think about contrast and how people's eyes are taking this in because we eat with our eyes. So I love to make food extra beautiful. I really love this guacamole. It's cram-packed full of flavor. Your guests are guaranteed to love it and it comes together in relatively no time. Let's give it a little taste. So good. Those oranges are the perfect accompaniment to the spices that you have going on there, the creaminess of the avocado. Definitely going to be a crowd pleaser at your next gathering. We have our two beautiful appetizers here. We have all these wonderful flavors. Having one thing that's dippable and then one thing that's a handheld food that you can walk away with so people are able to engage with each other. They're just gonna wow your guests and really set the tone for the evening.